What is the point in ignoring something like that? Stop, look at it, examine it, question it, and grow from it. Relationally, it was hard because I was in a Calvinist bubble. So I wanted to talk to my friends, but I feel like it did, and I know it never went well. And I guess fear, people were scared to talk about things that were different than what we were being taught at church.
Yep.
So conversations were shut down. I spoke to many friends, but one time each. So it wasn't like I had these long dialogues going with various people. It was like one time here, one time here, one time here. And that showed me this is not a conversation that is wanted.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had to just walk through it alone, really.
So it's okay to ask questions to anybody listening to this. If you're a Christian, it's okay. And if you're in a setting in which questions and expressing doubts or concerns about things is kind of frowned upon, if you're somewhat gaslit, made to feel like, well, you even having those problems is a problem, or it means you have weak faith, or you're just being in trouble, that's a problem. And I hate to continue to call to the comparisons, but I can't. On this channel, I've been dealing with a specific South Korean cult groups who function and behave in these ways with information suppression and gaslighting members when they express doubts or concerns about the things they're being taught. And I'm not saying Calvinists do this. I'm just saying this can happen, I'm not just saying this is just a Calvinist thing. This is any church. And so any place, any setting, I would say, in which you're in a church setting where you just asking genuine questions and expressing genuine doubts is in any way you are made to feel like there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with you having those things, or you're less spiritual than others because you're feeling those things. I would say there's something unhealthy about that setting. And I think you should feel okay. It is okay to ask questions and to express doubts, because I think God would want us to use the brains he gave us to think about these things rationally. And then, of course, biblically. And so do you have anything you would want to say to people, because you've walked through this kind of with that in mind, knowing that there probably are people out there who feel that same thing, that lack of freedom to really express the questions and doubts that a lot of them are probably carrying with them?
Well, thankfully for me, the leadership was open to talking, but they did frown. Yeah, that's a blessing. But they did frown upon the fact that I didn't go to them right away. I went on my own journey and kind of had my mind made up before I met with them. So they wished that I would have gone to them in the beginning. I don't have any regret that I didn't, because I feel like the Lord guided and taught me, and there was no attempt to sway me. I was on a journey with God. And so I don't regret that I didn't go earlier on, but the discussion among the body was very frowned upon. It was, do not talk about this. And the people didn't want to talk about it either. And I think there was such a fear of division. It's like, if you have a different mindset, you're divisive. No, not at all. We can talk. We can talk. We've been friends for so many years. You know me. I know you. Listen to this. What do you think?
This can be lighthearted.
Yes.
It's not, we don't have to hate each other if we just see things differently. Yeah.
And thankfully, it was in my place. It was never hostile, anger, unkindness. It was just closed door. Like, this is not happening. And that was hard, because I wanted to talk about it. I really, really wanted to talk about it. I processed verbally. Talking with friends and loved ones is how I feel like we've spent quality time together. And I am not an internalizer. I like to get it out. So it was hard to not be able to talk to my dear friends about the most important thing of my life at that time. So the Lord did provide, though. He brought a dear friend from a decade back into my life, and she walked with me through the whole 3 years. It's been amazing. So the Lord never leaves you alone, which is such a blessing. I've seen him provide. But what I would say, I honestly think every church is going to be different. I think being peaceful, kind, and gracious is the first and foremost thing I could encourage. If there's lack of love or argumentativeness or hostility, divisiveness, it's just not, first of all, it's not even honoring to the Lord to discuss things that way. But second, what's your goal? Why are you even talking to people if that's how it's going to be? If you have a genuine desire to dialogue with your friends, there's no sin in that. And if you're made to feel like there is, or if you're made to feel like, why do you care about this so much? That is not right. That's gaslighting. And it happens so often. It happens.
Yeah.
I have a list, not that I'm keeping a record of wrongs done to me, but I have a list of the things I've been called, and I have yet to call anybody anything. I'm just like, guys, what is this, you know?
Yeah.
So it's sad.
I'm finding that too. And I have a lot of Calvinists that are very respectful and intelligent, for the most part, in how they respond. But there's a lot of them that aren't. I would say the majority of the comments come down to, accusations that, I don't understand Calvinism, which I think is I think it's a diversion, really. I see it as I can't really answer this question, and he's presenting legitimate challenges that I don't necessarily know how to answer. So I'm just going to say he doesn't understand Calvinism, and that kind of it's kind of like you're saying, it's one of those easy out things. Like I don't have to really deal with this problem. And the other one is just kind of aggression and anger. It's just, well, you just want to make God in your own image. You just want to define God's love on your own terms. You're just thinking about this in a human way. It's just this kind of accusatory ad hominem rhetoric that is basically name calling. It's like, once again, I'm not going to deal with what you're saying. I'm not going to deal with your arguments. I'm just going to try to switch directions into saying that the very reason you're saying the things you're saying are evil, and so therefore I don't have to deal with it because you have a bad heart. There's something wrong with you for even thinking these things. I think it's just worth asking, why is it that so many Calvinists, respond in this way? And to me, that's an indicator of defensiveness. It's obviously there's something triggering them to defensiveness, which tells me there's some sort of insecurity there that's being poked on. Because when you start to poke on an insecurity, you're going to just nip. You're going to bite back, and you're going to start barking to make that poking stop because it hurts. And I would just say it's okay for that to hurt. Don't ignore the hurt. Look down at that and say, why does that hurt? Why does him poking me in that way make me want to call him a name? Like what's going on there? This is worth looking at and saying, what is this pain I'm feeling, and what is causing it? Yeah.
That's how you grow in life, is paying attention, examining, and then doing something about it, taking an honest look. What is the point in ignoring something like that? Stop, look at it, examine it, question it, and grow from it instead of dismiss it. And I think that's my biggest, what I know that I am where I am because I was willing to be honest with myself and not defend the doctrine, instead realize that the scriptures debunked it and having to seek truth instead of defend my doctrine. It's okay to give it up. It's all right. I mean, I'm sure there'll be other things we give up in life for the Lord. This isn't going to be the first thing, So it's okay. And I think it's growth. It's such valuable growth to be honest with yourself and face things and seek truth. I have a Calvinist friend who said exactly what you just said. If someone gets defensive, they're insecure, they're fearful, there's something going on.
Yep.
And that's just human psychology. It's true.
Right.
So it is fascinating. But then you hear, I have a friend that I challenged, and she seemed like totally nonchalant about it. She was like, nope, I disagree with you. Only to find out months later that she actually went back and rechecked on the things I said. I'm like, why were you not honest on like, why are you acting all cool?
Yeah.
Instead of just be honest with me and be like, oh, that's something to check on. Let me go check and I'll get back to you. But they put up a front when you don't know what's going on in the heart and mind when they're genuinely challenged. So it's worth continuing if they're willing to discuss things, you know?